3 items inside: a photo, a birth certificate, and a hospital bracelet with the wrong mother's name. The envelope was old, yellowed like it had been hidden in the back of a drawer for decades. Marlene's hands trembled just enough to make my stomach knot as she pressed it into mine. "Before you sign anything," she whispered, eyes not blinking, "read this." She turned and walked down the hallway like she hadn't just detonated my entire reality. It was supposed to be a normal baby shower, sweet, chaotic, pink. Rachel looked like she was glowing the whole afternoon, floating between gift piles and photo ops with Lily in her arms like she was holding the sun. Her aunts were beaming. Her cousins made toasts. And somewhere in the middle of the chaos, Marlene had stood there, mostly quiet, mostly watching, until everyone left. I didn't open the envelope right away. I shoved it into the pocket of my hoodie and helped clean up. Smiled through dish duty. Kissed Rachel on the cheek when she leaned in, eyes soft and tired. "You okay?" she asked, brushing frosting off my chin. I nodded, swallowing the stone in my throat. "Yeah, just tired." Lie number 1. That night, after Lily was down and Rachel had fallen asleep watching reruns of The Office, I went out to the garage. Sat on an old camping chair with the overhead light buzzing and that envelope like a bomb on my lap. I opened it. There were 3 things inside: a faded photograph, a hospital bracelet, and a folded document that would change my life forever. The photo came first. It was glossy, but age had dulled it. A woman in a hospital bed cradled a newborn, smiling, exhausted, real, but it wasn't Rachel. Or it wasn't just Rachel. The resemblance was terrifying. If you told me it was her twin, I'd believe you. Same jawline, same slope to the nose, same tired, triumphant eyes. The baby? The baby was unmistakable. My daughter Lily. Same cheeks, same dimples, even the odd birthmark behind her ear. Except this photo was dated July 1992, 3 decades before Lily was even born. On the back, in looping cursive, M. 1992. She never knew. Next, the hospital bracelet, worn, cracked plastic. The name printed on it wasn't Rachel's, Monica Bennett St. Luke's Medical Center, room 228. Same hospital Lily was born at. The room number even sounded familiar. My heart jackhammered in my chest. I unfolded the last paper. A birth certificate, filed, July 22, 1992. Mother, Monica Bennett. Father, unknown. Infant, female. No adoptive name listed. Hospital record number, 204, the rest blurred as my brain short-circuited. Because that number, it matched Lily's discharge ID. Not close. Exact. I dropped the paper like it burned. My palms were sweating. My breath short. I couldn't stop staring at the photo. Monica, whoever she was, holding a child who looked just like my daughter. What the hell was I looking at? I barely registered the door creaking open behind me. Rachel stood in the doorway, rubbing her eyes. "You disappeared," she said softly. "I was about to come looking for you." I scrambled to tuck the envelope under a box, my hands too slow, too shaky. "Just needed air," I muttered. She walked over and sat in my lap like she had 100 times before. Rested her head on my shoulder. Today was perfect, wasn't it? I wanted to hold her. I wanted to nod and mean it, but I couldn't because all I could think about was the woman in the photo and the girl in my house I called my daughter and the question thundering in my skull, "Who the hell are you, Rachel?" I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the woman in the photo, Monica, cradling a newborn who looked exactly like Lily. I replayed Marlene's words on loop. "Before you sign anything." What was I about to sign? What had I already signed? Rachel was next to me, breathing softly, her hair splayed across the pillow like nothing had changed. But everything had. My world was tilting. And Rachel? She wasn't a wife anymore. She was a riddle with a baby in her arms and secrets carved into her DNA. By morning, I wasn't just suspicious, I was determined. Rachel hummed in the kitchen while making Lily's bottle. She always hums when she's happy. And that morning, her happiness made me want to scream. "Need anything?" she called out. I shook my head from the living room. Lie number 2. I waited until she took Lily for a walk before pulling out the envelope again. This time, I scanned every detail on the birth certificate. The doctor's signature, the hospital seal, the witness line, and one strange line stood out: mother requested sealed adoption records. No agency listed. I Googled for hours. Monica Bennett was hard to find. But eventually, I struck gold or poison, depending how you look at it. An obituary. Monica Jane Bennett. Died in 2003. Age, 31. Survived by one daughter, name withheld. No father. No siblings. No mention of an adoptive family. Just vanished. Like her whole life was a redacted file. The obituary photo was grainy but unmistakable. It was her. The woman in the hospital bed. Monica. The same eyes Lily had. The same soft jaw. The same smile Rachel wore when she wasn't trying to control it. My stomach twisted, because the more I stared at that photo, the more I knew what it meant. Rachel wasn't Marlene's daughter. She was Monica's. I heard the front door open. Panicked, I slammed my laptop shut and shoved the envelope under a stack of magazines. Rachel walked in, cheeks flushed from the cold. Lily gurgled in her stroller. "Everything okay?" she asked. I smiled too quickly. "Yeah, just catching up on some emails." Lie number 3. That night, I stared at Rachel across the dinner table. She talked about baby shoes and daycare waitlists. And I watched her mouth move while my mind traced back through everything she'd ever told me about her past. None of it added up. The missing photos. The lost in a move stories. The way Marlene always dodged questions about Rachel's birth father. I excused myself and went out to the garage again. This time with a purpose. I called Marlene. Straight to voicemail. I left a message anyway. "I need to talk. About the envelope. About Monica." 20 minutes later, my phone rang. Her voice was shaky. "Come over." Her house looked the same as always, doilies, candles, cross-stitched quotes about gratitude. But Marlene looked different. Tired. Like she hadn't slept in a week. She didn't ask me how I was. Just motioned to the couch. "I knew it would come out eventually," she said, almost like a confession. "But I never thought it'd be through a baby." I sat across from her. "You were never going to tell me?" She looked down at her hands. "I wanted to. I tried. But Rachel doesn't know. She's never known." My heart stopped. "She doesn't know?" Marlene shook her head. "Monica was my best friend. She got sick fast. And before she died, she asked me to take care of Rachel. Said she didn't want her going into the system. She was 10. Confused. And grieving. I said yes. I told people I was her aunt. Then, over time, I became mom. That's what she called me. That's what I let her believe. I didn't know what to say. My mouth moved but no words came out." Marlene went on. "Rachel's never seen her birth certificate. Never asked questions about the early years. She remembers the illness, the fear, but she blocked the rest out." I leaned forward. "So Rachel really thinks you're her mother?" Marlene nodded. "To her, I am." I closed my eyes, then opened them. "And Lily?" I asked. "Why does she look just like Monica?" That's when Marlene hesitated. And what she said next made my blood run cold. Because Monica's blood is still in her. And so is his. "His who?" Marlene stood, walked to an old cedar box on the bookshelf, pulled out a photo. She handed it to me. A man, maybe 20-something, dark hair, sharp jaw, same dimple as Lily. Holding a baby, Monica's baby. "Rachel?" "That's her father," Marlene said quietly. "And no, it's not you." I stared at the photo, my entire body buzzing with disbelief. "Are you saying?" "I don't know for sure," she interrupted. "But Lily looks like him. Not you." I swallowed the scream in my throat. Marlene looked me dead in the eye. "That's why I gave you the envelope. Because if you're about to sign anything, you deserve to know what you're signing up for." I walked out into the night, my legs numb, the photo in my hand. Was Lily not mine? Was Rachel not who she claimed to be? The two women I loved most were wrapped in a secret neither one of them even seemed to fully understand. Or worse, what if Rachel did know? I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Monica in that hospital bed holding a baby that looked exactly like Lily. I kept hearing Marlene's voice, "Before you sign anything." What was I about to sign? What had I already signed? Rachel lay beside me, breathing softly, her hair spread across the pillow like nothing had changed. But everything had. By morning, I wasn't just suspicious. I was determined. While Rachel hummed in the kitchen making Lily's bottle, I sat quietly in the living room pretending to scroll my phone. Waiting. Watching. Every hum from her lips grated. Because how do you hum through a lie? When she took Lily for a walk, I pulled the envelope back out and dug deeper. The birth certificate. The sealed adoption line. No agency listed. I searched everything. Monica Bennett, St. Luke's Medical Center, July 1992. Eventually, I found it. Monica's obituary. Died in 2003. Age 31. Survived by her daughter, name withheld. A grainy photo stared back. It was her, the woman from the hospital photo. Monica. Lily's face. Rachel's face. I barely heard the front door open. Slammed my laptop shut, hid the folder under magazines. Rachel walked in, cheeks pink from the cold. "You okay?" "Yeah, I lied again." That night over dinner, I studied her. Every twitch, every blink. Then I asked, too casually, "You ever think about your real dad?" She blinked. "What?" "Your biological father." She laughed. "Mom always said he left before I was born." "And you believed her?" She raised an eyebrow. "Why wouldn't I?" I didn't answer. Because now I knew she really didn't know. Not yet. Later that night, I went back online. Traced Monica's high school yearbook photo. 1989, Westlake High. Found a boy standing next to her, James Kerrigan. It was him. The man from the photo Marlene gave me. A little more digging. Obituary. Died in 2010. Car crash. No listed children. Except there was a child. Rachel. And Lily had his eyes. The realization hit like a gut punch. I wasn't just looking at Rachel differently. I was starting to look at Lily differently too. The next day I asked Rachel, what was your mom like? She smiled. Strict, particular, but loving. Why? She ever talk about how she had you? She used to say I was a miracle. She thought she couldn't get pregnant, then boom, I showed up. I forced a laugh. Boom. You know what I mean. But I didn't laugh for real. That one word, miracle, told me everything. Rachel didn't know. Not about Monica. Not about Marlene. I needed someone who did. I found a name at the bottom of Monica's obituary in memory by her friend, Gloria Mann. I called. A woman answered. Older voice. Wary. This is Gloria. My name's Evan, I said. I'm married to Rachel, Monica Bennett's daughter. I need to ask something. Long pause. I was wondering when someone would call. Did Rachel ever know the truth? Another pause. Monica made me promise never to tell. She was scared. Thought she'd die before making it right. I swallowed hard. What do you mean, making it right? She never wanted to lie. But the adoption wasn't legal. There was no paperwork. Just a neighbor, Marlene, who took Rachel in. My breath caught. So Rachel really doesn't know? No. She thinks Marlene's her mother. Always has. I looked at Lily's empty swing. My stomach twisted. And the father? I asked. Was it James Kerrigan? Yes, Gloria whispered. He left before Rachel was born. Monica still loved him. And Lily, when I saw photos, she looked just like him. I covered my face. Jesus. Gloria's voice softened. What are you looking for, Evan? I paused, then told her the only truth I knew. I'm looking for my daughter. Because I'm not sure if she's really mine. I stared at Lily across the room that night. She was sleeping peacefully in her bassinet, clutching the edge of her blanket like she always did. So small. So still. And suddenly, so unfamiliar. I'd spent 9 months dreaming about being a father. I was there for every sonogram, every late-night craving, every kick through Rachel's belly that made us laugh like idiots. I held Lily the moment she was born. But now? Now I wasn't sure if any of it was mine. The next day, while Rachel went to her mom's, I found what I wasn't even sure I was looking for. A small folder tucked in the back of Rachel's filing cabinet. Not our shared folder. A separate one. No label. No tab. Inside, a single sheet of paper. Paternity test requisition form. Signed. Dated 2 months ago. Rachel had already tested Lily's DNA. Without telling me. My hands went ice cold. She knew. Maybe not everything, but enough to be afraid. Enough to check. And she didn't say a word. That night, I tried to play it cool. We made dinner. Put on music. She poured us wine. But I couldn't stop looking at her hands, those same hands that had once held mine during labor. Had they trembled when she signed that form? Had she cried? Panicked? Or had she done it calmly? Had she planned it? She caught me watching and tilted her head. You're staring again. Just thinking, I replied. Lie number 6. She leaned in and kissed my cheek. We've been through a lot, but I feel like we're finally settling in, don't you? I smiled. Said yes. Because what else could I say? That I found her secret test? That I talked to Marlene? To Gloria? That Lily might not be mine and she might not be hers? No. Not yet. I needed confirmation. The next day, I called the lab listed on the requisition form. Claimed I was following up on a test that had been done. The receptionist asked for the patient ID. I gave her the number from the form. Silence. Then, that account's been marked confidential. Access restricted. Of course it had. I hung up. Now I wasn't wondering if Rachel knew. I was wondering what else she was hiding. That night, after she fell asleep, I got out of bed and crept into the garage. Opened the envelope again. Looked at Monica's photo. The resemblance to Rachel was uncanny, especially in the smile. But it wasn't the same smile. It was warmer, freer, untouched by lies. And Lily, she looked like her too. But not like me. The more I stared, the more it hurt. I needed the truth. Something undeniable. So the next morning, I ordered a paternity test kit. For me and Lily. When it arrived, I waited until Rachel went to the store. Swabbed Lily's cheek gently while she slept. Bagged mine. Sealed the envelope. And mailed it. I felt like I was mailing away a part of my soul. The results came back 4 days later. I waited until Rachel left to pick up diapers. Sat alone at the kitchen table, the envelope trembling in my hands. I opened it. Read the words. Probability of paternity, 0%. 0. I dropped the paper. Stared at the floor. Everything inside me went silent. It wasn't just the betrayal. It was the grief. Grief for a dream. For a future. For a family I thought I had. Rachel came home 10 minutes later. I was still sitting at the table. She smiled. Guess what? They had the nighttime diapers in stock, finally. I didn't smile back. I held up the test results. Her face drained of color. She didn't say a word. Not even I can explain. Because she knew there was nothing to say. I stood slowly. Walked past her. Into the hallway. Picked up my coat. Where are you going? She asked, voice barely a whisper. To get some air, I said. Lie number 7. Because what I really needed was to get away from everything. I didn't come home that night. I parked at the overlook by the lake, engine off, phone on silent, just watching the sky dim over the water. I'd been here once before, after Rachel and I had our first real fight. I remember telling myself back then, this is what love is. Messy, painful, but worth it. Yeah? I didn't even know who I'd loved. My wife had lied to me. Not once. Not casually. But methodically. She'd looked me in the eye, let me name a child that wasn't mine, let me build a nursery, install a car seat, sign legal documents, and never once said, you deserve the truth. My chest felt like it was caving in. Around 11 p.m. I finally turned my phone back on. 5 missed calls from Rachel. 3 texts. We need to talk. Please come home. I didn't know for sure until I saw the results. I was scared. Scared of what? Losing me? Or losing the lie? When I walked through the front door the next morning, she was waiting at the kitchen table. The paternity test lay between us like a loaded gun. Rachel didn't cry. She just looked up, eyes rimmed red, voice steady. You're angry. I didn't respond. I didn't mean for it to happen, she said. I didn't know who the father was. I blinked. Then why lie? Why test Lily behind my back? Because I was scared of losing everything. You. Us. This life. But it's not real, I said quietly. None of this is real. She flinched like I'd slapped her. She's still my daughter. Is she? I snapped. Because Monica's name is on her paperwork. Marlene's name is on yours. And mine? I was just the final piece of the lie. Rachel stood. I raised her. I carried her. That's real. And me? I asked. What am I? Her silence said everything. That afternoon I went back to Marlene's. She opened the door slowly. I was wondering when you'd come back. I stepped inside. I need the whole story. From the beginning. She sat down. Poured 2 cups of tea. And then she told me. Monica had been sick. Long before the cancer. Depression. Episodes. When Rachel was born, Monica wasn't in a place to care for her. James had disappeared. The state threatened to step in. So Marlene, her next-door neighbor, stepped in instead. No legal adoption? I asked. No time, she said. It was either me or the system. So you became her mother. She called me Aunt at first. But over time, that changed. I nodded slowly. And Rachel never questioned it? She repressed a lot. She had trauma. Holes in her memory. I filled them as gently as I could. My jaw clenched. You could have told her the truth. I protected her, Marlene said. I loved her like my own. But the truth always finds a way out, I whispered. Marlene looked down. Yes, it does. That night, Rachel tried to talk again. She's still ours, she whispered as I stood in the hallway. She's yours, I said. And James's. But not mine. DNA doesn't change love. It changes everything. She touched my arm. What happens now? I looked her dead in the eye. That's the first honest question you've asked me. She backed away. Just slightly. Like she already knew the answer. And maybe she did. Because in that moment I wasn't her husband anymore. I was just the guy who saw through the curtain. And realized the whole stage was a lie. I packed in silence. Not everything. Just the essentials. A duffel bag, my laptop, a few shirts. I didn't slam drawers. I didn't yell. I just moved, mechanical, efficient, like a man stepping off a sinking ship. Rachel sat on the bed, arms wrapped around her knees. Lily was asleep down the hall. You're really leaving, she said. Not a question. Just grief trying to find a foothold. I need time, I replied. To do what? To figure out who I am when I'm not part of someone else's fiction. She started to cry. Real tears this time. Raw and uneven. You don't have to go. We can fix this. How? I asked. With another lie? She stood. Reached for me. I didn't do this to hurt you. No, I said, you did it to protect yourself. And maybe that was worse. I moved in with a friend for a few weeks. Told work I needed leave. Told my parents Rachel and I were going through something. But I didn't tell them the truth. Not yet. I didn't have the words. I missed Lily. God, I missed her. Every coup. Every 2 a.m. bottle. The way she reached for my nose when she was falling asleep. But now every memory came with an asterisk. She's not yours. I kept checking my phone for photos. For updates. for some desperate message from Rachel saying she found a way to reverse time. Nothing came. Then, 2 weeks later, a letter arrived. Not an email. Not a text. An actual handwritten letter in an envelope with no return address. Rachel's handwriting. I unfolded it carefully like it might break in my hands. Evan, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I need you to know one thing. I didn't find out until after Lily was born. I suspected, but I didn't know. When I got the paternity results, I broke. I was going to tell you. I swear. But every time I looked at you holding her, I couldn't. Because you loved her. And because you loved me. I lied. And then I lied to cover that lie. And I kept lying because it felt like the only way to keep you. But I know I've lost that now. I don't know if Lily will grow up calling you Dad. I don't know what the next months or years will look like. But I do know this. Whatever choice you make, I will respect it. Because for the first time, I'm choosing the truth. I read it twice. Then a third time. Then I picked up my keys and drove back to the house. Rachel opened the door, surprised but quiet. She stepped aside. I walked past her and into Lily's room. She was there, in her crib, gurgling to herself, tiny fists waving like she was conducting an invisible orchestra. She looked up at me, smiled, and for a moment, none of the biology mattered, because my heart still recognized her. My arms still knew the shape of her. I picked her up and she cooed. Rachel stood in the doorway, eyes wide. Evan? I turned to her. I'm not coming back for you, I said gently. Not yet. Maybe not ever. She nodded, tears sliding down her cheeks. But I'm not walking away from her. Because love may start with blood. But it doesn't end there.